So how do the pros retake bomb sites? Well, it sounds like a simple enough question, doesn't it? But as we'll see during this one, retakes, they come in all shapes and sizes, and no approach is ever going to work in every single situation. So here with Big, we're on the CT side of Inferno. We have Taps in here, he's playing around the coffins area, gets on the coffins after a nice nade, 2 kills for him, a little bit fortunate, and this last one is definitely a little fortunate as well. So now in a 4-on-2 retake scenario, these big players, they're rotating over towards B. We have Tizian, and he's going to put down a nice smoke on towards Banana. And now we're going to see what Big's plan really is coming into this retake. So grouping up with 3 players towards coffins, as well as Xantares in towards CT. This retake is going to start to come in. Tapson, self-flashing them out, all swinging out together. Tizian, he finds the first, and Serson, he mops up the second. As we see a really clean retake and a great example of how to play in these 4-on-2 situations, grouping up and playing together. So in this one, let's just notice how Big are playing so slow and composed. They're getting their utility down, smoke on towards Banana, grouping up as a team towards this coffins area, and then exploding out together on a flash. And Xantares, he also does a good job here not to overface. He waits for his teammates and then comes up with them, playing totally as a team and making sure the EG players here had next to no chance. And that's the most important thing in these retakes, just playing together. The thing is though, sometimes instead of playing so slow and composed, it can make perfect sense to act more quickly. Now on this one, Astralis, they're playing 4 players towards A, with Device locking down Banana on his own. As these G2 players come in, he drops his nade in response. He tries to buy time. He gets 1 kill, but unfortunately, we'll go down to that jumping Mach 10. Now, as these players make their way in from G2, Astralis, they're rotating over. And what's going to happen here is as this CT smoke starts to fade, Dupree, he hears the tap of the bomb on towards the coffins. He mollies it, and nade as well comes in. Zipnik swings out at the same time. So much pressure being applied to these G2 players. And Zipnik, he finds another to make it a 3-on-1 scenario. And on a flash from Magis, they're all going to swing out together. And Kenny didn't really have any chance. So on this one from Astralis, what they were doing was capitalizing on the window whilst G2 was exposed. And of course, whilst the team's planting the bomb, they lose one of their players effectively. Now on this one, even though Device went down, he did buy a decent amount of time and meant that by the time these rotates have come over from Astralis, that CT smoke has faded, and of course all these nades going down on towards the plant, Zipnik swinging out at the same time, and the G2 players, they don't really know where to look. There's so many directions of pressure coming out from Astralis. So this one's just a great example of how you can capitalize on that window, and of course if you know where that plant is going down, put all your utilities straight onto it, try and get the frags, and then look for those picks, whilst the T side are really disorientated. So in a lot of rounds, there's not really a clear transition from defending the bomb site into them retaking that same site. And on this one, we have G2 here on the CT side, Nico and Nexa in defense. Nico drops his smoke. He's going to play this kind of gap around the smoke. And of course, we have all these Astralis players. They're grouped up towards Banana. And soon enough, they'll be hitting this B bomb site. So as the smoke starts to fade, these G2 players decide we're going to move into a nice 2-man setup. We've got Nico here. He's going to get boosted up on top of Newbox, just like so. Good spot, dodge a lot of those flashes. And we have Nexa down here, down the bottom, and they'll be fighting together. So, as these terrorist players come in, Nexa's going to molly. They're both going to fight these terrorist players as they swing through the molly. And as we can see, they do a decent job trading 1-for-1 at the start. But Nexa, he plays so well staying alive. He buys time for these rotates. And Hunter's actually going to smoke to the left side of Nexa, try and buy him some space to play around. And even though Nexa goes down, he's bought so much time. And with the clock burning down here, Kenny S, when he hears the tap, they're going to explode through this coil of smoke. And he gets a couple kills for himself. So watching from a wide shot, we can see how well Nexa really played this situation. So he dances around this box, he uses flashes, he stays alive for as long as possible, and when that smoke comes in, he has more space to move around and can stay alive for even longer. And this one is just a great example of how delaying for as long as possible can allow those rotates to come in and prevent those terrorist players getting the bomb down and then putting themselves into really strong positions. So on Inferno, retaking the A bomb site can be a pretty tricky affair, but if you make good use of any remaining utility you might have, you'll have a much better chance of pulling off the retake. So with Serson, he legs the first player, takes this one out through the cut, just about misses the no-scope, and we find Big in a 2-on-2 situation. So Tabson and Keto, they're making their way over. And the real thing we have to notice here is Tabson's utility usage, and he does a really great job on this one. So first up, Tabson is going to throw his smoke in front of Moto, just like so. Going to line up this nice molly, crack on the ground, aiming just above the roof, give that one a jump. Throwing on this flash over graveyard. These two remaining big players, they're going to swing in and cover some ground. Akito, he does get one, but he dies to Cirque in towards Pit as he crosses the bomb site, and Tabson, he manages to recover another smoke. And he does a really good job here to have a good stab trying to defuse this bomb, but Cirque, he just about covers the ground in time and manages to deny that defuse. So despite being an unsuccessful retake, Tabson here did a really great job with his utility. Here's that smoke that he threw just in front of Moto. Just over here, moves all those angles from mini Pit and Pit on towards the bomb site, or at least most of them. Molly on towards the back of the bomb site, and then a flash just up here over graveyard for these two players to swing out on. They can cover the ground and try and pull off this retake. And even though, obviously, this one didn't go in the end into Tabson's favour, there's a lot to be learned from this retake, and you guys should definitely make good use of your utility. Now, on some rounds, you might be retaking a bomb site with plenty of players still alive, and that's exactly what plays out on this one for Big. So Certain and Xantares, they're playing aggressively into kind of this short area. Xantares, he was traded out, and now we find ourselves in a 4-on-4. And as these big players rotate over, what's actually going to happen is Big, as the CT side, are going to execute onto this A bomb site in some crazy antics. Akito throws a smoke on towards Pit, removes all those one-way angles around the Pit. One-way smokes Tabson, smokes the front site, and now on loads of flashes, these CT players are going to explode up a short, trading out nicely together. They get the frag, eventually to play it in towards mini Pit, and Tabson takes Tarek down to 3 HP, and in the end, Big, they'll have to give up on this retake. So watching again, let's see how this CT execute really plays out. And keep an eye on Tizian here because we didn't really see him the first time around. So these smokes come down for front site and towards Pit. And all these flashes, everyone, including Tizian, are going to explode out at the same time, looking for these fights. Tizian goes down. They trade onto this player in mini Pit. And Tarek, as we said, he almost gets killed. A very, very strong attempt. And it's really rare you'll see retakes like this. But it can be good to think of retakes as a kind of mini execute where everyone works together with a certain plan in mind. Switching on to Overpass, team play is something we've discussed quite a lot already, but I want to really hammer home how important playing together can be in these retakes. So grouping up towards the B bomb site is Na'Vi, and they find themselves in a 4-on-4 retake scenario. So on board with Flamey here, he's going to start clearing through all of these angles in towards Bank, taking it slowly and clearing out all of these positions. Now, as he makes his way up with a teammate behind him, he gets a nice frag here onto Apex, and now Simple and Boomich, they are flashing over the top of Bank for these two players in towards Bank to swing out just here and start gaining some ground as a duo. So they start moving out. One player in towards Long. Does get one kill, but Simple, he's made his way over. He can find the trade. Good buddying up here, and now playing to either side of the dice. Flamey finds another, leaving just Masuta in a 1-on-2 scenario. Simple, he sticks the bomb here. Masuta covers the ground as fast as he can, but he can't get there quite in time. Simple gets the defuse, but I guess Masuta does get this consolation frag. Now, at all points in the round, Na'Vi, they were buddying up, peeking together, and making it next to impossible for Vitality to take one-on-one duels. They were always taking fights as more than one player were Na'Vi as these trades start to come in. And you can really see how they're peeking to either side of the dice here, taking fights from different directions and making it really, really difficult for these Vitality players. And of course, it worked out perfectly in this scenario. So what about retaking a bomb site when you're at a numbers disadvantage? So on this one, Vitality, they're clearly taking the B bomb site just over here. We have Boomich. He's playing in towards the short water area. He's going to catch shocks alone coming out of Connector. Now from here, Boomich, he mollies on towards that plant spot, comes in a tiny bit too late. And what's going to happen is Boomich is going to be playing towards the short water area. Perfecto comes in from ABC, and Simple is up towards Heaven. So from here, loads of flashes are coming over from Na'Vi. And what they're looking to do is just peek out and have a little bit of a look around and see what's going on. So Boomich again towards shorts here, Simple in Heaven, and Perfecto down here in towards ABC. Now, off the back of these flashes, all these players start swinging out. They're looking for fights, and having a little bit of a look around. But they're not overfacing, they're not pushing in and just swinging out. They're looking for jewels, they're looking for good opportunities. Perfecto, he spots the barrel but can't quite find the frag. Now from here, Perfecto, they found a kill. There's a good opportunity to push and he gets another, and now they really commit onto this bomb site. And Perfecto runs out of bullets, and that's really the kind of nail in the coffin for Na'Vi on this one. So the important takeaway on this round is that Na'Vi, they don't just rush into it. They don't just explode out with loads of numbers. That molly goes down here from Perfecto, and now they take their time. They come in from different directions. They hold angles, and they look for opportunities to take fights, good fights on their terms. When these flashes come out, they start peeking. They're looking for jewels. They find some opportunities. But even now, they're not just rushing onto the bomb site and giving away needless frags. They're hoping for fights. They're hoping to be in a good position. And now, when they feel like they're in a good spot, they start committing behind the frags onto the bomb site. Obviously, it doesn't work out. This is a great example of how you should be playing in these man disadvantages. Play it slow, look for good fights, and if you find an opportunity, then commit onto the bomb site. So in a retake, don't be scared of taking your time and running down the clock so you can play more as a team and more clinically in these situations. So on this round, Electronic, he's died over towards A. So Na'Vi, they're saying, let's load up the A bomb site with numbers. Let's rotate numbers over because that's where we think Vitality will be coming. But as we can see here on the map, in reality, Vitality, they're hitting the B bomb site. And Boomich, he can hear all these smokes going off to his left-hand side. He rotates himself over. So moving out of ABC, he gets tagged up at just the wrong time as he pulls out the nade. And now Na'Vi, they know it's the bomb site and they're rotating their numbers in. So simple, he's going to jump on the head of Boomich here, doing this nice head stack. And what they're doing is not peeking out immediately. They're waiting for a flash to come over from Perfecto. And on the flash, simple, he can jump up and start looking about, but he can't see anybody for the moment. So Perfecto, he makes himself come out of Connector, trade out in the end by Apex, and now all these players start exploding their way onto the bomb site. Simple playing around this default box. He gets one, and now in a numbers advantage. Boomich finds a second, but unfortunately for them, Apex, he plays it super well, and Na'Vi, they can't quite pull off this retake. This one was a really brilliant attempt from Na'Vi, and without Apex getting baited in and some great play from himself, they probably pull off this retake with a few players still alive. So as we mentioned at the start, retakes come in all shapes and sizes. And to be successful in the retakes, make sure you have a plan, play as a team, make use of your utility, and crucially, take your time unless you have a good reason to be acting quickly. Now after that aggressive kill from Shock's Vitality, they find themselves in a 2-on-2 retake situation, both of them coming up and through heaven. Now Shock's, he's going to be making his way out first, clearing out all of these angles. He makes his way down and also recovers a smoke on the ground just there. He's going to put that smoke on towards Short, and now on some flashes they're going to start peeking out. Shox is going to tap the bomb, and Zyro is going to hold the left-hand side. And as Shox defuses the bomb, remember that Counter-Strike is a team game, and in the retakes, the better teams are very likely to come out on top in most scenarios.